doc says that everything's inside of our head, or for psychosomatic people, when they're told that everything's not inside of their head, they have to say that, because if you tell somebody, like, I mean, you can tell us a non-psychosomatic person as well too, that if they're told that it's not all in their head, they're gonna be like, what do you mean it's invalid? You're invalidating their statements. Like, if I was just to tell you, it's just all imagined, it's just all in your head, like your eczema and your depression and all of this other stuff, like it's all just in your head, people are gonna be like, no, you're absolutely insane. But it's just like, it's true. I mean, there are exceptions, maybe not. Maybe there aren't actually exceptions to these rules. Maybe that's just a belief that we've been telling ourselves, that like there's an exception, that people do have a chemical brain imbalance. But it's like, what if the brains aren't chemically imbalanced? Like, just what if? Just hypothetically. Like, what if we've started to induce that said chemical imbalance in their brain because, you know, because we started to fill them with these thoughts and ideas, so that then their brains start to fire in different ways. It can kind of be looked at as, I guess, like wiring of a house. I don't know how to wire a house, just like I don't know how the wiring of the brain works. Neuroscientist probably knows more about that than I ever could. But like, if the wires are wired incorrectly, like the light bulb is just not going to turn on correctly. Whereas if you start to change the wiring of the light bulbs and how the neurons fire, then they'll change the condition that a person has. But like, if you tell them that, like, oh, it's not on the outside, like, well, sorry. If you say that it is on the outside, it at least validates their feelings and validates them in a way to hopefully make them look more on the inside, when it is all just an internal thing. Is this the biggest illusion that we have? Is that things happen on the outside of us, when in reality, like, nothing exists outside of us. Like, they just don't. It's all in our head. It always has been. Like, we can say that there's things on the outside that we're perceiving. Like, I can look at a car, you can look at me right now, and it's being perceived on the outside. But it's just like, that's not what's happening. You're interpreting the things on the inside, which then project an image to on the outside. Because I can't remember what philosopher, maybe it was a scientist that said this as well too. But it's just like, when you see the color red, which we don't even know if we're all seeing the color red, but like, when you see the color red, all it is all the other colors that are reflecting through it are able to go through that specific thing, whereas the one thing that isn't able to go through that is the thing that is reflected back at you into your corneas, which then gets processed by your synaptic nerves and all of your other nerves in general too, to be able to give you the representation of red, even though that color isn't red. Because then, let's say we have a dog or another animal or something like that, like, they don't see the color red, they see the color blue or purple or gray or brown or some other color that we can't even physically comprehend, because they're on a different plane and have a different level of consciousness than we ourselves have. It's this whole concept that I don't fully understand. Like, I mean, I do understand the bits that I do understand, but there's also going to be things that will just never be able to be understood, and that's just part of this whole thing, this whole experience. It's just like being told that it's not, like, it's on the outside of you. I almost feel like that is more of an invalidating statement than being told that, like, it's not all in your head, because then it's basically like you're telling the person that, like, what will solve your problems are on the outside of you. Which I've started to realize, well, I know this now for a fact, that the things that do solve your problems are on the inside of you, and you gotta look internally compared to externally to be able to find those solutions to the problems, because then they'll just start to accumulate in different ways than they were originally. So I could try to find all the answers on the outside of me, dude. I think I could. I gotta do it on the inside of me first, and then let things happen naturally on the outside of me. So that takes time. Focus, resilience, a willingness to sit with yourself for more than 5 minutes. Because I think it was Appetitus. That's the most a man's suffering is because he can't sit alone with himself in the room for 5 minutes. So it's like if you can sit alone by yourself for 5 minutes, start 5, then go 10, 15, 20, 30, 45, 50. And if you even need to, like, I mean, even if you just go on a walk or something like that, and you just take a walk without having any sort of like audio or your phone or distractions or something like that. We're going on a bike ride as well too. Like there's countless different options that you can take to be with yourself. Like if you need to move, you can move. Like you can do walking meditations, walking solitude. You can do it on hiking, on biking, walking, running, lifting weights. And you can really do this anywhere that you're at. It takes time and it'll take practice. But what I can say is that it will change your life in positive directions. At least it has done that for me. And if I've seen a positive change in my life, I don't see why you can't also see a positive change in your life as well. If you guys like these types of videos, a little more off the cuff conversations such as this, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you haven't already. Share it with a friend as well, because that's the only way that we can grow and share these different ideas to hopefully raise the level of consciousness that we are presented with. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next video, and I'm gonna go get a lift in. And if you have any questions, you can also leave those down in the description as well. Talk to you soon.